now at TavishTalks.com. That's TavishTalks.com. The priority deadline is February the 10th. So visit TavishTalks.com right now and let's build this table together.
On and on and on and on. Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the business is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify with you and God in time my best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the Chariots?
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q. DRNIIQ. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or you can just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there I am for your listening pleasure. Last but certainly not least, be sure to subscribe to our KBLA YouTube channel. Yes, subscribe to our KBLA YouTube channel. Some of you are probably watching us on YouTube right about now, and we love it. Don't be shy about getting up in what we call More Perfect group chat. Those are the folks that are chatting on YouTube. Some of our regulars there. Hello, regulars. We love the engagement, and so be sure to keep that going. All right. Now, look, in other news, it's important to note that there's some real stuff happening, impacting real people each and every day. I don't know about you, but I was on social media. I was on the gram, to be more specific, and I saw the social media posts. I just want to lift up because there are a lot of folks out there that may not be aware of Jerome Richardson. Jerome Richardson, he is a Temple University student, and you might remember he was one of the folks on January 18th that assisted Don Lemon during his visit to the Twin Cities by helping with logistics and connecting him with local contacts to report on the ICE-led Minnesota Operation Surge. And as a consequence of this support, he's now being targeted by the Trump administration. He is speaking out now because he anticipates being in federal custody sometime in the near future. He wants to share his love and gratitude and asks that we all consider three actions. One, pray for his safety and peace of mind. Two, don't stop fighting for justice. And number three, supporting his legal fund. This is where there is a true need. And so he posted this or reposted this recently. And I just want to lift this up because, you know, there are a lot of independent journalists out there, and in this case, student journalists out there that don't have the muscle of a big news organization to fight on their behalf, or may not have the deep pockets to be able to fight back on their own. and that's where we all come in. And so if you haven't already, consider going to Officially Jerome on Instagram. That's at Officially Jerome on Instagram to click on the link to support his legal defense fund. I have, and I'm encouraging everyone else to do that. It's one way in which we keep each other safe. All right. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And look, kicking us off, The Guardian is reporting that the FBI has released the door camera image of the armed individual and the Nancy Guthrie case. The FBI today released this new photo and video footage of someone the agency director has described as an armed individual, quotes, an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance. Broadcast journalist Savannah Guthrie, the host of NBC's Today Show, and Nancy's daughter wrote on social media, quotes, "We believe she is still alive. Bring her home." The FBI director, Kash Patel, published the images as the search for Nancy Guthrie has stretched into the second week, saying that the images had been, quote, previously inaccessible, but were subsequently obtained and from residual data locked in the back-end system. And so that's what is happening. We are watching this story continue to develop, and we want to encourage anybody, if you've seen anything, say something. You can call 1-800-CALL-FBI to share anything that you know. Again, that's 1-800-CALL-FBI if you know anything related to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. All right. In other news, right here in California, the LA Times is reporting that Senator Adam Schiff has endorsed Eric Swalwell for California governor. That's right. Schiff, one of the most prominent Democrats, previously served with Swalwell on the House Intelligence Committee, where they riled Republicans by investigating President Trump during his first term. They also both worked to impeach Trump during his first term, with Senator Schiff serving as the lead manager of Trump's first impeachment and Swalwell as the manager of Trump's second impeachment. Schiff, in a statement, said that Swalwell, quotes, has the vision and strength to take on our state's biggest challenges and make real progress, from lowering costs for families to protecting our democracy from Donald Trump. He went on to say that Congressman Swalwell and I worked together to investigate Trump during his first presidency, and Eric played a leadership role in the impeachment trial after Trump incited a violent mob to attack the Capitol on January 6th. Swalwell, of course, announced in November his bid to replace Governor Gavin Newsom, who is termed out next year, entering a crowded field of candidates without a clear frontrunner. Look at Senator Schiff supporting Representative Swalwell. We see you, Senator Schiff. All right. Next up, how ICE defies judges' orders to release detainees step by step. I saw this, and I just needed to lift it up a little bit because we're talking so much about ICE, and even this hour we'll be talking in moments with our guest for this hour, Dr. Jonathan E. Collins. We're going to be digging beyond the headlines when it comes to the latest on the ICE front. But Politico is reporting that courts across the country have overwhelmingly rejected the Trump administration's efforts to round up thousands of immigrants and lock them up without a chance for bond, even if they have no criminal record and have lived in the United States for years. But Trump, the Trump administration, has slow walked or outright defied judges' orders demanding the release of people scooped by ICE at an increasingly rapid clip. We're going to get into this and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaped his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and he is Dr. Jonathan E. Collins, professor of political science at the Columbia University. He's also our resident democracy scholar, and at times we double as sweater models.
Good to see you, Dr. Nee. And I'm proud of this one. I like my little gray half mock neck situation.
I'm proud of you too. I mean, I don't know. What is it? You would think that for professors, it's almost as if we have a professor wardrobe, right?
You would think so. Yeah.
It's like we get a box once a month and it's filled with sweaters and mock turtlenecks and all of that.
J. Crew, I am open to endorsements. I have no relationships with any sponsors now. I am open for business.
All right. Well, I'm sticking with Keels.
Well, you got the quarter zip going.
Yeah, quarter zip. You know, I can zip it up, zip it down, right? But we just can't seem to be able to zip it when it comes to what's happening with ICE. NBC News reporting that top Homeland Security officials are actually defending ICE at these congressional hearings. I don't know if you've had a chance to see any clips from today's hearings, but for our leaders, learners, and listeners, let me just sort of catch everybody up real quick. NBC News reporting that top Trump administration officials are facing some pretty sharp questions from Democratic House members today at the more than 3-hour Department of Homeland Security oversight hearing following the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by ICE agents in Minneapolis last month. Key members of the Senate Democratic Caucus, including Angus King, who ain't even a Democrat. He's an independent from Maine. And he says that he won't support another short-term extension of government funding to prevent a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security this weekend. That's pretty serious, given Senator Angus King, the independent of Maine, once upon a time, not very long ago, was a part of the 8 Senate Democrats that voted to reopen the government back when we had shut it down over healthcare. What do you make of this? What do you make of how even the independent senator says that a vote to fund ICE with 0 reforms is a non-starter?
Well, it tells you that the tides are turning, Dr. Neat. Well, and now, granted, there's not a ton of evidence that the tides are turning, because if you listen to this full hearing, it was incredibly partisan. And there were plenty of Republicans simply being Republicans that showed no interest in holding Todd Lyons and ICE accountable for what has been happening in Minnesota, particularly the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. But at least there is some sign the Republicans are seeing that, look, Americans are not standing for this. There have been public opinion polls showing that there is bipartisan support for the idea of limiting the resources going to ICE. ICE is incredibly unpopular for Democrats and Republicans alike. And it's become clear that this next iteration of budget discussions will have to include massive reductions to the ICE budget that President Trump has been putting in place. There is no way possible we can move forward with a bill, with a budget that in any way makes a substantial investment in ICE.
Yeah, I mean, and the math shouldn't be hard on this. I mean, I think I saw a poll today, I think it was an NPR Marist poll, that showed that over 60% of folks polled believe that ICE has gone too far in their tactics. And so that's not just Democrats, right? That's independents and Republicans. And that's part of the reason why we're seeing folks like Senator Angus King, an independent, get out there and say, I can't support this. He can't. Not if he's representing independents.
No. If you are truly in the middle here, which is where independents claim themselves to be, right? During the 2024 election, what was the argument that folks who were undecided were making about the presidential candidates? I see no difference, which I don't know how one could say such an argument, but I see no difference, that it's the lesser of two evils is what I'm choosing between, that both sides, the Democrats and Republicans, are getting it wrong. Okay, well, here's an issue where it's undoubted that the Republican Party is getting this wrong. Democrat, independent, Republican. What's happening with ICE is a threat to constitutional rights. It's a threat to civil rights. It's a threat to everything America claims to stand for: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
I want to dig a little bit into what Senator King said in a statement, because I think it illuminates some of the politics, at least of this moment. And I think it gives us a rare glimpse of at least how folks who caucus with the Senate Democrats, how they think about their vote related to funding or not funding any part of our government. Senator King saying, quotes, "What ICE is doing is unconscionable, and it's got to be reined in. I can't in good conscience vote for it. I would feel complicit in what they're doing." He also went on to say that, asked why he was drawing the line now. He said that the situation is different because 96% of the government is now funded. So if the Department of Homeland Security isn't funded, you're talking about ICE and TSA and the Coast Guard and FEMA being shut down, which I regret, he says, but it's not the same as it was in the fall, where you were talking about food stamps, support for research and development, medical care, and all those things. So it's a very different situation in terms of balancing what's at stake. What does that statement illuminate for you, Dr. Collins?
Well, it illuminates the fact that there is a very practical choice to make, that this is not a political choice, that this is about what makes, honestly, practical common sense. I mean, you look at, more of Angus King's comments, he's making the argument that, like he says, quote, "This is not that complicated. Simply apply to ICE the same rules that apply to the police in every other community in this country," right? Treat them as, end quote, but treat them as civil servants that work on behalf of the people and that are there to protect the people and that are held accountable or should be held accountable when they go rogue. So this is not a Democrat or Republican matter. This is not a political matter. This is a simple, practical matter of protecting American citizens from what is now, again, this rogue paramilitary unit that is unconstitutional in its construction and that has violated state and federal law repeatedly over the past few weeks. Right? Like, this is a slam dunk here. This is obvious. This should not be a debate. And the fact that it is turning into a partisan debate just shows you how deeply a lot of these Republicans' heads are in the sand. And so, Angus King, junior senator from Maine, self-proclaimed independent, and who has tried to consistently position himself as middle of the road on a lot of the major political debates. He's looking at ICE as a particular moment to establish what should be a very clear middle of the road. And I think we should be more open to that pathway.
Yeah. Maybe we will. Who knows? I mean, we still have 4 days until the DHS funding deadline, and so anything is possible. But Dr. Collins, a very reliable source, shall we say, on Capitol Hill, had a meeting this morning, and part of what they shared is that they believe that affordability is the winning message that links different ideological factions of the Democratic Party to be able to win in November. Specifically, the Mondani faction, the Spamberger faction, the Mickey Sherrill faction, that folks who share those ideological viewpoints believe affordability is winning message. All right, no surprise there. But in addition, this very reliable source had shared that they believe that the political environment and the court's ruling is giving Democrats momentum heading into November. And when asked about impeaching Trump, the Dems are said to be focused on cabinet members, not Trump, cabinet members like Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. When we come forward, Dr. Collins, I want to get your take on the inner thinking of the Democratic leadership on Capitol Hill. Is this enough for them to take back the House and potentially make a go for the Senate in November? I don't know, but I have a feeling that Dr. Collins may know. More when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The White House says it fully supports the SAVE Act, which would require proof of citizenship to vote. House Republicans plan to bring the bill up this week.
He's been very clear. He wants House Republicans and Democrats, too, if they were politically wise, to pass this legislation.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump is urging Republicans to back it and has spoken with House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. A Virginia mom says her black son was called the N-word during a high school basketball game and then ejected. Tiana Morton says the slur came from Hickory High School players during a game against Great Bridge High. Her son was suspended for his reaction. Chesapeake Public Schools says it's aware of the incident but cannot comment. And rapper Drake lost $1 million after betting on the New England Patriots to win the Super Bowl. He placed the bet Saturday night, but the Seattle Seahawks won 29-13, costing him the payout. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Santa Clarita, 14 northbound delays leaving the 5. You remain on the brakes and stretches towards Sand Canyon Road. It's also tough right now on the 405 northbound leaving Culver City. Delays pushing back off of Venice Boulevard as you continue all the way to the 5 merge into Sylmar. Pasadena, eastbound side of the 210, getting crowded approaching the 134 freeway. Delays extend all the way to Citrus, and it's pretty tough on the 57. This is getting out of Orange from just about Orangewood Avenue. Northbound delays all the way towards the 91. More slowing in Brea from Lambert as you approach the 60 in Diamond Bar. And tough in Corona, southbound side of the 15, leaving the 91 freeway to Temescal Canyon Road.
Southern California Edison reminds you that downed wires are dangerous. Never approach or touch a downed wire or anything in contact with it. Stay away and call 911. Learn more at sce.com/stay safe.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
After the Lakers' 119-110 loss to Oklahoma City Monday night, LeBron said something that the Lakers organization really did not want to hear. LeBron said, "We are not a championship team." LeBron made the comment when a reporter asked him to compare the Lakers to OKC, the NBA's defending champions. There may have been added motivation for LeBron to make that statement after both teams played without their best player Monday night. OKC came to town without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, last season's NBA MVP. The Lakers didn't have Luka Doncic, the NBA's leading scorer. LeBron saw how OKC handled their injury situation much better than the Lakers. OKC had 6 more free throw attempts, made 4 more three-pointers, and outscored the Lakers bench 54-35. Maybe LeBron should have spoken up before last week's trade deadline. It's too late now for the Lakers to do anything about not being a championship team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
Here come the drums. At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LAC-JCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
What like you? Yeah.
But
California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and he is Dr. Jonathan. He is the Associate Professor of Political Science at Columbia University. He's also our resident democracy scholar, and we're pleased to have him here to help us sort of not just separate the fact from the fiction, but really look into the crystal ball of the 2026 election cycle to make it make sense. I was just sharing just moments ago, a very reliable source from Capitol Hill was sharing some insights from a meeting with Democratic leadership. I was sharing some of the thinking around how they are navigating, this, onslaught of issues and concerns from the Trump administration. Spin the wheel any day. We be talking about ICE raids. We be talking about how FEMA isn't doing enough in communities like Altadena and other hard-hit communities across the country. We can talk about the Epstein files, a whole host of things. And there are a lot of sort of trapdoors, if you will, for Democrats, but they seem to be laser focused on affordability, healthcare, and reining in ICE. And they seem to think that these are the issues that are going to unite the different ideological wings of the party. What say you, Dr. Collins?
I say they're headed in the right direction. I think they're finally listening, or, as we like to say, putting their ear to the streets. Because, Dr. Nee, I know you're a man of the people. You like to touch the grass. And as much as we spend time, talking to folks, if you're in the grocery stores, if you're in the barbershops, beauty salons, if you're, in the gym, if you're, in spaces where you find community, that the main things that folks are talking about are just that: affordability, the crisis, the civil rights crisis, and the humanity crisis that is the reoccurring ICE raids. These particular issues are top of head. And if you're the Democrats too, you're leaning in on these issues in healthcare. You're leaning in on these issues because, Dr. Nee, Republicans, they're looking real vulnerable right now. Looking real vulnerable. So if you are, there's a source that I like to follow, the Cook Political Report, and what they do is they analyze the competitiveness of elections. They do this kind of forecasting model to tell you who should be worried and who shouldn't. And if you look at their latest analysis, a lot of red on the who should be worried list. A lot of red. David Volato in California, Darrell Issa in California as well, Gabe Evans in Colorado, a lot of folks, Marionette Miller Meeks in Iowa, like a lot of Republicans should be worried. These are races that are projected as of now to be very, very close, and the messaging on those issues coming from the Republican Party has not been strong. So yeah, Democrats, if I'm the Democrats, I see blood, I see weakness, I see an opening, I see an opportunity. And it's just a matter of fact, It's a matter of will they develop the kind of messaging strong enough to follow through.
Yeah. Just while we've been on air, the LA Times is reporting that the LAPD is to train their body cameras on immigration agents under the mayor's directive. The LA Times reporting that Mayor Karen Bass signed an executive directive requiring LAPD officers to activate body cameras during federal immigration enforcement operations and preserve all footage. This news just being reported again by the LA Times. LA police officers must turn on their body cameras at the scene of federal immigration enforcement operations and preserve the footage. That's according to a new executive directive issued by Mayor Bass today. Of course, since June, we know that federal immigration raids have disrupted neighborhoods and communities across LA and around the nation, including at work sites, along neighborhood streets and in commercial areas. Mayor Bass saying during a news conference this morning that, quotes, the point that we're trying to make here is that ICE enforcement is not welcomed here. We have resisted against it since this terror started, and we will continue to do that. In addition to recording the federal immigration agents' actions, LAPD officers must document the name and badge number of the agent's on-scene supervisor, summon emergency personnel if someone at the scene is injured, and take reports from the public about federal agents' alleged misconduct. That's what was said in Mayor Bass' 5-page directive. Dr. Collins, what do you make of this?
It's a part of a larger political battle that we should be monitoring very closely. And so what's happening is the Trump administration is targeting sanctuary cities. Right? And so sanctuary cities are places that have adopted their own policies, essentially protecting undocumented folks from essentially being terrorized and being unlawfully detained and victimized. And so Minneapolis, sanctuary city. Los Angeles, sanctuary city. Now, earlier this year, President Trump initiated an executive order to try to abolish the ability for cities to maintain these kinds of policies, these sanctuary city policies, these designations. And in addition to initiating the executive order, we've also seen this, the unleashing of ICE. Now, it's very important that Karen Bass has made this decision to also mandate the wearing of body cameras, because there's pretty clear evidence that law enforcement officers are significantly less likely to engage in excessive force when they're wearing them. And so what you're seeing from Karen Bass is the attempt to try to blockade the effect of ICE on multiple fronts. You know, by one, being true to and doubling down on Los Angeles's sanctuary city status, which offers legal protection for undocumented folks, especially folks who are in no way violent threats or violating, city and state law. And also ensuring that any type of law enforcement that takes place is more likely to occur without excessive violence and force.
Yeah, this is major. We're seeing examples from across the country of state and local leaders fighting back against the Fed's overreach, fighting back using the tools at their disposal, and just how President Trump has the ability to sign executive orders that are not law, but redirect the federal government and federal resources as he sees fit. So do governors and so do mayors. And so Mayor Karen Bass, who is running for re-election, has really demonstrated some leadership, I would say, not just for the people of Los Angeles that she was elected to represent, but leadership among mayors in this country right now. Lots of talk around body-worn cameras, and a lot of people think that the camera itself, well, we're being made to believe that the camera itself is a win. And Dr. Collins, as you know, and as you have studied from so many different municipalities who've adopted body-worn camera technology, that adopting the technology is the easy part. What you do with it, how quickly you make it available, when you make it public, of course, whenever that's appropriate. These are all questions that have kept the public from being able to really get the transparency that we're led to believe that we will have simply by adopting body-worn cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the most important thing is that the officers have to wear them and they have to turn them on. And so, one issue that we've seen before is that there were police officers who were immediately pre-conflict turning the body cameras off. And then we're right back to square one once there is an incident in which a police officer is engaging in excessive force. Right? Like, this is a huge leadership victory, I think, or demonstration of leadership from Karen Bass, for LA in particular, not just because ICE is an extensive threat. It's because what ICE has been doing is engaging in racial profiling. And so you unleash ICE in a city like Los Angeles. It's not that they would be detaining undocumented folks. We conservatives and folks who are actually behind and championing, these ICE raids are working under the assumption that they're detaining folks who are in the U.S. quote unquote illegally and who are violent, who are bringing violent actions and causing harm to American citizens. That's not what's happening here. What's happening is you got folks who are just law-abiding citizens who are being harassed, questioned, detained, beaten, locked up, even killed from agents who are going rogue. And so, any measure that you can put in place to decrease the likelihood that an American citizen or anyone, this is about human dignity. No one should be treated like this. But what you really stand to lose in this situation is American citizens being racially profiled, Black and brown folks in Los Angeles being racially profiled.
It also seems to me to create some distance between the ICE operation and LAPD operation. I don't need to tell you, how hard so many leaders in community and some in elected office have had to work over many years to try and build trust between local law enforcement and the community here in LA. It is nowhere where it needs to be, but it's nowhere where it used to be. And I think this mayor understands that. And it seems to me that this directive coming from Mayor Bass's office to LAPD is an effort to protect that trust that has been hard earned, particularly in recent years. And so we're going to continue to keep our eye on this story, but major bit of news coming out of Los Angeles. I'm sure it will hit the national news circuit in short order. When we come forward, Governor Tim Walz making some news of his own, saying today that he expects the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota will end, quotes, in days, not weeks and months, based on his recent conversation with some top Trump officials. We're going to talk about that and what some of the other Democratic governors are doing when it comes to boycotting a dinner at the White House. You don't want to miss this. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with my man, Dr. Jonathan E. Collins.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen. erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned, homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
My name is Tyrone Owens, and this is my home for 23 years that burned in the fire. Me and my wife, Charlene, we had this whole yard decorated every year.
This was the house that sparkled throughout the entire neighborhood on all the holidays. It's a community that will never be the same due to the negligence of a utility company. So I am pretty upset about that.
We were nowhere near being able to rebuild with our insurance. It's going to cost $1 million to put your house back up.
I want to get back to that point where we were before the fire. I'm starting to get emotional, but I'll work through it. LA Fire Justice has been wonderful for us. They're just caring people. We have all faith in them.
Big ups to LA Fire Justice, who's given us hope to rebuild 100%.
Advertisement. Douglas Foster, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. He is Dr. Jonathan E. Collins, professor of political science at Columbia, our resident democracy scholar. And look, we know that governors play a pretty substantial role in our democratic experiment here in the United States. That's part of my interest in this next story, where the AP is reporting that Governor Tim Walz says that federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota could end within days. The Democratic governor said at a news conference that he spoke on Monday with Border Czar Tom Homan and with the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles on this morning. And Homan took over the Minnesota operation in late January, of course, amid that growing political backlash that we're all familiar with. And he says we're very much in trust but verify mode. He added that he expected to hear more from the administration in the next day or so about the future of what he said has been an occupation and a retribution campaign against the state. While Walz says he's hopeful at the moment because every indication he has is that this thing is winding down. He added that things could change. What do you suspect Governor Walz is trying to do by sharing this information ahead of an all-out pullback from the feds in Minnesota?
I think Governor Walz is trying to show what it looks like for leadership to resist the Trump administration's move to really unlawfully send ICE into the streets. And the issue here is that, Dr. Nee, everybody has that friend, maybe not so much a friend, maybe it's an associate who, when they have something to give to you, you always kind of look at them with that side eye. You wonder, what's the catch here? Why are you being so nice? Why are you suddenly being so giving? That hasn't been in your nature. Why is that the case now? And I think those are the exact same questions that Tim Walz is asking of Holman and the Trump administration when they are considering pulling out 700 agents from the streets of Minnesota. Is this too good to be true? The argument being made by ICE leadership, by Holman, is that there's going to be a transition in leadership from ICE to local law enforcement. The issue here is that local law enforcement and ICE have been doing very different things, almost totally opposite things. In fact, you could make the argument that local law enforcement now has pivoted to protecting the citizens of Minnesota from the ICE agents. So I'm a bit unsure of how exactly this handoff between ICE and local law enforcement is going to work.
Yeah, and we know that Governor Tim Walz is not only engaging the administration in an effort to get ICE to retreat out of Minnesota, but he's also locking arms with other Democratic governors, boycotting the White House dinner after they snubbed two leaders. That is Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who is the vice chair of the National Governors Association, and Colorado Governor Jared Polis. They were disinvited from the National Governors Association event. A White House official stated that the president reserves the right to invite whomever he wants to the dinner, but apparently it doesn't include the vice chair of the National Governors Association. And dare I say, the chair-elect. Governor Wes Moore will become the chair of the National Governors Association in June. And so, look, Trump is over here showing out, no surprise there. But what really caught my attention was the fact that we have these two things that are happening at the same time. And it made me wonder, is Governor Tim Walz, is he a profile in courage, a profile in political pragmatism, perhaps? All of the above or none of the above?
Well, I think it's a different responsibility for different audiences. I think for what's happening, if you're a Minnesotan, you're happy to see Governor Tim Walz providing some instant relief from what has been a nightmare. I mean, like, again, I think about Renee Good. I think about folks in Minnesota who have been terrorized by ICE, and you have to be glad that there's some negotiation happening to get those, what they would call us, thugs off the streets. Now, at the same time, the National Governors Association has had a long history of being incredibly bipartisan. They rotate the chair by party each term, and so it seems small, this snub of Wes Moore and Polis from the dinner, but this is a big deal. Presidents haven't played partisanship with the National Governors Association. This has actually been one of the main vehicles through which we see coordination between the presidency and state leaders across the partisan divide. And so, yeah, from a practicality standpoint, I think this is a bigger deal than advertised.
We'll have to leave it there. Our thanks to Dr. Jonathan E. Collins, our resident democracy scholar, for making us feel a little bit smarter and helping us look beyond the headlines. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The longest nurses strike in New York City history continues, with more than 4,200 nurses still picketing outside of New York Presbyterian Hospital.
We remain out just because despite working for one of the wealthiest hospitals in New York City, the hospital cannot find a way to staff us appropriately.
The union has reached tentative deals with Montefiore and Mount Sinai, which